Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the VoskCoin YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create a Zcoin Znode, which is their version of you probably guessed it, Masternode. What this does is basically enable staking on a coin that otherwise does not have it. If you have Zcoin, you're an investor, but this isn't investment advice, so you have these coins, right? And you want to earn more coins while you hold these coins, because if you're holding them, you could probably assume that you think they'll go up in value. Well, if that's the case, then it would make sense to use those coins to make even more coins. That's passive income. Basically, you have to set up the server, which is what today's video is all about, and with that, you will earn more coins. It's really not as bad as it sounds if you have no experience with a VPS, with Linux, or anything like this. Trust me, I'm not, very adept at this myself, and I'm going to breeze through this tutorial for you guys and show you just how easy it is. There's an official guide, which I'll show you here in a little bit, and also I made my own custom written guide that I'm going to follow to the T in this video, and if it doesn't work, then it's time to delete the channel. Right now, you need 1,000 Zcoin to create a Znode, right? And the current price of Zcoin is about $7. So you probably guessed it, it's about $7,000 to create this Znode. The ROI is about 16% annually. If you're wondering about the daily income, if you look at a USD value, you'd make about $3 a day, or about $20 a week, or about $88 a month, or about $1,100 a year. And what does that translate out to in actual coinage? That'd be 163 Zcoin a year, 13 Zcoin a month. So you can do the math and see if it's worth it to you. If you're wondering about, how much does this VPS cost to rent or build your own server, I'll cover that a bit more here in a second, but basically it's going to be about $10 a month in expenses, and you're making much more than $10 a month, so it makes sense from that point of view. Historically, the Znode has been one of the best performing masternodes. That's not a shill, I've been following it, and I've been pretty impressed with how it's done given the past year of bear market, and just overall how many more nodes keep coming online. If you see a coin and more nodes keep coming online, it's probably a good sign. It also means you'll be getting less rewards. We'll cover that a bit later as well. As far as getting some Zcoin, all you have to do is comment your Zcoin address below in the video comments on this video, and include your favorite Masternode coin. It could be Zcoin, it coin, be any other coin. We're just interested to hear about that. You don't actually have to have a Masternode to say, hey, that's my favorite coin. Also, I would like to thank Zcoin for sponsoring this Zcoin video series. They made this possible for you guys. Alright, let's jump into it, guys. I've links out to everything I use in the video description below, obviously, as always, naturally, including the link to my written write-up. I hope you guys use it. I hope it's useful. If you have feedback for me on it, I'm obviously all ears. Little intro here, piece basically saying you want to make a Znode. Yeah, that's why you're here. That's probably why you're watching the video, so maybe I should get to the point. I cover some really basic stuff in this video because I'm just kind of a start to finish guy. Like, I like to cover every base. I don't like to leave a portion out, even if it's pretty trivial for any kind of intermediate to advanced user. I cover the fact that you're going to need Zcoin, how much, and how you can get it, just for example buying on the Binance exchange. Whether you love or hate Binance, I do have a Binance referral code. It's not a shill. I don't keep my coins on the exchange, just throwing it out there. So after you get your 1,000 coins, you're going to need the desktop core wallet, not just to store them off an exchange, because that's the safe and proper method. This is where your Masternode or Znode is going to operate out of, which we will cover more of that. Well, how about right now? After you get that wallet set up and downloaded, or I should say installed, then we're going to move to the first initial steps. Pretty simple stuff. For that, you're going to take a basic safety precaution. You're going to come in here and encrypt the wallet. All you have to do is enter a password and enter a matching password and click OK. Your wallet is now encrypted and thus more secure. Now that you've encrypted your wallet, you probably want to back it up and save it. To do that, all we have to do is go to File, click Backup, and you will get to name your file, tag it if you want to, and choose where you want to save it. Here's the key point though, don't save it on your computer, because if your computer goes down, which may be one of the main reasons why you would ever want to recover your wallet and thus your funds, then you just lost your backup. Keep it off the computer. Just a USB thumb drive will be more than enough to put it somewhere else. Put it on a different device, something that is not connected to where your actual wallet is used. I personally keep mine in 2 drives, same stuff on the drives, redundancy if one were to ever fail. Keep them in safe, fireproof, waterproof, whatever you want to do, whatever helps you sleep at night. It's going to be that wallet.dat file. Pretty basic stuff. Save it, drop it on thumb drive, take it off, you're good to go. Now we can move on to the next step, which would be number 5. We're going to be generating a Znode key. In order to do that, we will come up to our help menu and we will go to debug. Once we're here, we will go to the console and we will simply type in Znode genkey. With all that said, for the next step, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get that get account address. So I already did ZN1, so I'm going to do ZN2. So that's going to give me an account address. What exactly is that? This is going to be the address that you deposit your Zcoin. You need to send 1,000 Zcoin to this address, which I'll explain more here in a second. Right now in the guide, I'm just basically talking about setting up a little notepad here, keeping your notes there because it's useful and helpful, and you're going to be referencing these a couple times in your server setup. So this is all about sending the 1,000 Zcoin. You have to send it in one transaction. You cannot subtract the fee from the amount. You can't send 500 and 500 from 2 different places. You need to send it in one single transaction. It's not as crazy hard as it sounds. Just basically send it all to your wallet and then make sure you send one complete transaction to that address from your wallet, which you guessed it, I'm gonna show you that right now. So we've got our get account address. Now we need to send again exactly 1,000 Zcoin to us. So we're going to put that pay to address. Your wallet already knows about it because it's labeled ZN2. When you did get account address ZN2, you were naming it there. So with that, we can go ahead and send it. A very useful tip if you're doing more than one Znode, and if you're on Windows, you'll be going to Settings, Options, Wallet, or if you're on Mac, you go to Zcoin Core, Preferences, Wallet. And with all that said, you will come up here. For me, it's gonna be Preferences, and then I will go to Wallet, and you will enable coin control features. You click it, and then you enable it. I already had it enabled. So from here, I can come in here and I can lock amounts. I can specify where things are coming from. Basically, we have 1,000 Zcoin in this other Znode, right? And if I try to send 1,000 to this Znode and it pulls some of the coins out of there, if even though I had, say, for example, over 2,000, it would, ruin the node. It would turn offline because I'm not meeting that requirement. So you really want to come in here, right-click it, and lock it. For example, I could lock unspent here, and that couldn't be used to be sent, in a joint transaction. Fortunately, we've already locked the funds in the other node, so we are clear to proceed without, adding any more steps. We can just simply select send 1,000 Zcoin. At that point, you guessed it, we're probably going to click send and wait for that. 3, 2, 1. The answer is yes, and the payment is sent. After about 15 seconds or so, you'll be able to click on inputs and see the 1,000 Zcoin you just sent. As you can see, it pulled the Zcoin from all the other addresses, but not the other Znode. So I have, again, the 1,000 that's supposed to be in the first Znode, and then I have the other 1,000 that we will need for this tutorial to create another Znode here. I can go ahead and lock it just like that, and now it is safe. And if I ever want to, send it somewhere else, sell it, whatever, just come in here, unlock, and then just like that, it's spendable. What's really cool about Zcoin and their masternodes is your coins aren't locked up for 30 days, 90 days, whatever. If you want to come in here and send them, sell them, whatever, you have that option. You have the ability to do so. Another key note is you'll need 6 confirmations on that Zcoin you sent in order to enable your node. With the steps we're taking in this tutorial, you'll have much more than 6 confirmations by the time you are there. There's one other thing we need to do while we're here in the wallet before we move to the server and server setup. So with that, we need to put in Znode outputs. If this is your first Znode, you're just going to have 1. For this, we are getting our second Znode, which is going to be this second additional information. This first number combination is our transaction ID, and the second number is our index number, which again is explained in this video tutorial. Well, obviously it's explained in the video tutorial. I meant to say it's also explained out a little bit more detail in the written tutorial. Again, guys, this is a pretty simple and straightforward node setup, so don't be intimidated by it. You can absolutely do it. Go ahead and put that in your notes, and that's going to be what you need to reference later on. I can go ahead and close this out now and continue moving down through the tutorial. Now we are going to need to move to our Znode.conf file. It's in your Zcoin data directory. If you're on Windows, type this, which you can just copy and paste into Windows Explorer. On Mac, you need to navigate here. On Linux, it's in the home Zcoin folder. If you can't find your library folder, I have a link right here that shows you very quickly and easily how to unhide your hidden folders on Mac. From there, you go to your library and you will go to application support, which is another folder, and within that folder you will go into your Zcoin folder, which will bring you here. You will need to go into this file. So guess what? We're going to go into this file. I'm editing this file with Atom. It's a free text editor. I have a link out to their site. You can download there if you want to. If not, obviously no big deal. I don't care. It's no big deal to me. So with that, we're just going to need to follow this format right here. So I have Znode 2. I'm going to need the IP address for it, which I will come right back to that. And then we're going to need to open, or this is going to be the port that we open on the server. And then we will need to include our private key, our gen key, which is in our notes right here. We're going to take our gen key and put it in like that. And then we're also going to need our transaction ID. So we're just going to put a space there. And then we're going to put the index number. For this, our original one was 0. It's likely you'll get 0. If it's your second node, you're probably going to get 1. So we have all that. But we're missing the server IP address. So maybe we should go run a VPS, right? It's probably a good idea. Just made a quick note of that in the guide. Again, just to keep it simple, just put IP address, port, and we'll come back here and update that in a second. Pretty simple stuff. You know, we've got the IP address, we've got the 8161, which is a required port for your Znode to work. You need your Znode private key, which was generated by Znode, gen key. You have your TXID, your transaction ID, and index is your index number. This is what that looks like. And again, this is a complete example of, you know, exactly what I used here, and you saw that on Atom. So now we need to go over and get a VPS. But what VPS do we get? Honestly, I'm not just saying this because they have a referral system, because you really get a great credit when you do use the referral link from me, which is a $50 credit. Okay, $50 credit. You got to spend like $25 to unlock the credit. But if you have your Znode up for 3 months, boom, there's like 5 months free. It's hard to argue with it. I get like 25 bucks or whatever, I think, when you guys use my code and sign up for that long. So anyway, the point is just that I really recommend DigitalOcean. Not just because they have their referral system, not just because their user base is easy. Their customer service has been great when I've reached out. I think OVH has the worst customer service. When I dealt with them, I cannot stand them. I didn't like Impact VPS either. I still have an issue with them that I've been trying to resolve for about a year now. Not resolved. There's a couple other like decent options out there, but I've always had a great time with DigitalOcean. It's really easy to access everything. Like here, I want to go grab my IP address for this server. I needed to go into Brave and turn my shields off right there, but anyway, I want to grab my IP address for my server. Click, you know, copy. It seems simple, not a big deal, but a lot of these other setups don't offer just ease of use things like that. So you sign up, you create an account, follow the links, support the channel, support the mission, you get logged in, you come here, you click create, and then you go to droplets. Droplet equals server in their you know, setup, their branding, which I think is kind of cool, to be honest. You can get by right now for the $5 a month at VPS. If you want to have a bad time, you're gonna have to upgrade it pretty much by or before September, so it's pretty soon. I wouldn't bother with it. The $10 a month at VPS will be good for at least a year, and probably like 2-3 years at the rate we're going. So I would go ahead and grab that one. Personally, you guessed it, if you ever needed to upgrade in the future, it's probably just going to come down to space. On DigitalOcean, you can actually just add storage to a server. So you need, say the blockchain got way bigger, you could just add 100 gigabytes to it, which would be an extreme increase in the storage capacity on this server, and now you're good to go. So we don't need to do that. So all we need is just a server. We're going to go standard. We're going 1804 Ubuntu. As far as locations, you can go wherever you want to go. I would recommend spreading them out or getting one near you, maybe in your local time zone. So if you ever did have an issue, there's maybe people there who could help you. Again, your mileage may vary. Having more nodes distributed across the world will make any cryptocurrency blockchain stronger. So do your part. Me personally, I'm gonna grab one out of New York because I'm over here in the US on the East Coast, and it makes sense to me. You don't need to set up an SSH key to do this. They'll email you with your login credentials. I already have mine set up, so I'm gonna use it because it just makes it a little bit easier, but trust me, you can just use with the login that they send you and move forward from there. You can name your Znode or your server, whatever you want to name it, maybe some kind of cool, clever name, or maybe just Znode 1, Znode 0, or whatever. So we did that. We're going to create it. And just like that, we now have a server. You'll see it boot up. This is the progress bar of your server. That took about 15 seconds. So I'm going to click that, copy it. And before I forget, because I can be forgetful sometimes like everyone else, I'm going to grab that IP address for the server. There it is. Input. Everything else looks good. I've got spaces in between things, only one, not too many. And I'm going to hit Command Save or Control Save, or Control S, I mean, and you're done. Go ahead and X that out, and you have now successfully updated your Znode config file. So now we can actually get to the fun part. As far as the actual written guide, I go over this stuff. I also talk about if you wanted to, use your own computer as a node, which is definitely possible. Probably any computer you have would work properly as a node. I just use this basic one as an example. It's like a $400 PC. In the long run, if you buy your own hardware, eventually it will make more sense than renting, but you have something to take care of. But then again, you also own an asset. But if your internet goes down and you don't get paid, you could, obviously lose some earnings there, which may take away from having a VPS, which is in a data center, which is at uptime. Whatever, you guys get the point. You either want to have your own hardware or you want to just simply rent a VPS. For stuff like this, I really enjoy VPSs. You just buy a small portion of this computer, basically, spin it up, you get sick of it, you want to sell your coins, whatever, boom, destroy it, done, no more billing, no contracts or anything like that. It's, you're only paying for what you use when you use it. Vultr is also my recommended alternative. So moving forward, just to touch on the minimum specs, 25 gigabyte SSD is the minimum, but really you need that 50 gigabyte SSD, which is why we're using that $10 a month VPS. You need a gigabyte of RAM, but again, 2 gigabytes of RAM will be much better. Pretty much any of the CPUs that's attached to these servers will work for you. Now we can go ahead and start working with the server. For this, you can just use the login credentials that they emailed you. For me, it's going to be SSH root at the IP address. After I do that, I will be logged into the server. Now we can just start punching stuff through. Again, we just did the SSH root at IP address. An example of that looked like I just showed you. Now we're going to set up our username. So you can put in whatever username you want. Today, I'm going to be DogeDad. And I need to create a password associated with this account. After you create your password, you can just punch through these. Enter, 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 enter. We'll get you to the bottom of that. For here, we can go ahead and do the user mod. Basically, we're giving our account on here admin privileges. So you can copy the first portion, and then you need to put the corresponding username that you entered. Again, I put in DogeDad, so maybe I should use the username because it'd be kind of funny and just fall right in line with the tutorial. I don't know, too late now. So I just created, admin privileges for that account. Basically, if you don't know this on Linux, when you hit enter and doesn't look like anything happens, it normally means the right stuff happened. Now, before we switch to our newly created username, because long story short, you don't want to operate as root. Basically, bad things happen and you make your server more susceptible to getting hacked. There's a lot of bots out there that just try to crack servers all day, every day. If someone's trying to mount an attack on Zcoin, maybe they would target all of their Znodes, which would be a way to attack their cryptocurrency. So you want to do your part and make your stuff at least decently secure, which is very easy, even if you don't know what you're doing. But again, before we switch over that, we're just going to run some basic updates on the server. Upgrade's going to go ahead and install them. With our command line, we just did, basically we searched for updates, and then we installed updates, and then we said, yes, we want to do this. It's just a string of commands. If you get better at Linux, which I'd say I'm like level 2 out of maybe 100 when it comes to Linux XP, right? You just basically start stringing stuff together, save time, do more at once. Makes more sense, and you look way cooler. As you can see, it doesn't take very long. I mean, that whole update process on this DigitalOcean server, which is obviously going to be decently updated already, takes about 30 seconds. We have a locally modified version, so in this case, we're just going to keep the local version installed. Just gonna hit enter on both of those. You don't want to break your server or do something weird unless you know what you're doing. And now the updates are done. So let's go ahead and enter our username that we created, which is just going to be SU username. Again, for me it's SU. Doge.dat. There's a couple of dependencies. Dependencies are applications that your application depends on. Grierso 2019. What an inspiring quote. So we're going to go and create a software firewall with UFW. To do this, we're just going to make sure we're in the home directory. I think this is just precaution, but we'll do it anyway. Now, from now on, if we want to do anything that's admin-like think of installing a program on a computer, that's pretty admin-like privilege. You don't want someone at your work who's a basic employee installing Halo and everything and not being productive. You're probably not going to let that happen unless you're, in on the game. If you didn't get the invite, well, I understand why you banned it. Anyway, getting off topic. Did you guys ever have Halo like on a flash drive and you try to stick it into like the computer at school and start like a Halo tournament? I mean, I even got Warcraft 3 onto some school computers back in high school. That was some of the most fun times of my life. There I go off topic again. Gosh. So again, we're gonna need sudo. We're gonna copy that and paste it. It's gonna automatically execute. So with that, we will go ahead and put our password in. Looks like it's already here. If you try to install something that's already here, that's okay. Because installing something is not gonna uninstall it. It's good to check. It's better to double check than try to run these commands and they don't work. We can go ahead and paste those, hit enter on the last one. The answer is always yes. And now the firewall is active and enabled on system startup. Basically what we did is we allowed SSH, we allowed a port to be open, which is 8168, and then we enabled the firewall. Pretty simple stuff. I explained this stuff a little bit more in depth here if you want to check it out, but try to keep this video tutorial relatively brief. We're already in the home directory, so I could probably just take that part out, but it doesn't hurt to ever do that again. You can see we're there because it says we are there right there. So now we're going to go ahead and actually install some Zcoin stuff, because up to this point we've done nothing Zcoin related. Well, at least as far on the server side goes. So we're going to run wget, and what this is going to do is download this file. And it's zipped, or it's actually in a compressed tar format, just like a zipped file on Linux. We're going to need to unzip it, which is what the second command is. So we can just copy and paste both of those. Once it's downloaded, we'll click enter, and now these files are unzipped. I just showed you this with the latest version, but if that version ever changes and I do not update the guide, always click this and reference the latest version. It will bring you here. From here, you can right click, copy link address. It's going to copy the exact version we have because that is the latest version, but imagine this is 0.13.9.10, right? So if that's the case, we could come in here and then just paste it, and it'll have the correct URL to download it from. This is just like a fetching command. We're telling it to go download this file from here. And that is going to change the file name that's downloaded because it's a different file. So if that's the case, you can come over here and grab this tar command. And you come up here and you can just type in 13.9 if that's the correct version. From there, we can come in here and run it. Just click enter. It's not going to work right now because that's not the file I downloaded. But if it was, and that was the name, then that would be what you need to basically unzip. And it's just that simple. Basically just trying to future-proof the guide for you guys, because wallets are a common thing that are updated in the cryptocurrency space. Next, we're going to need to create a new config file in your Znode, which is just like the one we had on our Mac or Windows wallet, desktop wallet here. And then we're going to edit it with the text editor called Nano on Linux. Our first command is going to make that directory. It's going to make that file. And then our second command is going to say hey Nano, let's edit this, okay? Okay, once we do that, we are now in here. Once you're in here, you really just need to copy and paste this. But wait, there's things that need to be modified, like your node IP and your Znode private key. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. Let's go ahead and just grab our little notepad we've got right here. We're going to need our Znode private key, which is that private key we made with the genkey command. That's going to be this. Then we're going to need our node's IP address. Quickest way, click on their DigitalOcean tab you probably still have open. Click that, and now it's copied. From there, you can just go ahead and paste it. You need to put in any username and any password you want here. It's probably recommended to make it pretty secure, but you know, this discretion is up to you. That's gonna be the username and password I'm using. It could be anything, doesn't have to be related to your username. Once we have that, we have what we need to put into Nano here on the server. So we can just simply copy and paste. From there, we're gonna hit Control X. Do you wanna save the modified version? Well, yeah, that's why we did it. You can double check, make sure that you've got your username edited, your password edited. You have, the most important things is you have your server IP, you have that correct port open, and then you have your Znode private key on there, which again, all this associates it with your desktop wallet, makes it all possible. Can't enter, you gotta hit Y and then you hit enter. So, good job, you did it. Now we can finally start our Zcoin wallet. From here, we're going to use CD to navigate to the correct folder. And then the second command we have is going to initiate the Zcoin daemon. Basically, it's going to start the wallet, right? It's probably going to tell you, Zcoin server starting. That's good news. Happy to hear it, Zcoin server. Now we can go ahead and check the progress of the blockchain sync. So, as of right now, we haven't downloaded any blocks. We just got our first connection. We just lost our first connection. We just got our first connection back. And after about 15 seconds, we've already downloaded 32 blocks. This is gonna really depend on your server, its capabilities, internet connection, how big the Zcoin blockchain is to date, and if your connections, you know, are good quality there. Basically, it's gonna take a couple hours. So, go take a break, go take your dog out for a walk, spend some time with your family, get some other work done, play a video game, I don't know. Maybe start making your second Znode server if you're loaded with Zcoin. But basically, you can just keep entering this and come back and you'll see the progress. Again, it's probably gonna take like 2-3 hours depending on your server setup. Could be less. It is possible to bootstrap the blockchain. What that means is you're basically going to just download a zipped version of the blockchain to a very recent point, and then you would go ahead and put that inside your server, and you would ask the wallet to re-index itself. And basically that means it would run through all the blocks, make sure everything's correct, and then only download the couple extra blocks you need, maybe like a day or two worth of the blockchain, which, you know, would take like no time at all in comparison. However, it's more of an advanced step, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it out, you know, the walkthrough of that for this video. If that sounds interesting to you, you can join our Discord server, talk to the veteran guys about it. They'll be glad to help you with it. So you can see we're already up to 200 blocks. Only, well, still got a little bit of way to go because there's 170,000 blocks in the Zcoin blockchain right now. But trust me, it speeds up, you'll be okay. On that note, I'm just referencing this with the Zcoin Block Explorer, which is linked out in the written guide right here.
2 hours later.
All right, well, it's probably been a couple hours. Good to see you, man. You're looking refreshed. Happy to have you back. Let's go ahead and finish this up because trust me, we're almost done. So now we just need to go ahead and log back into our server. You're gonna log back into your server. You're gonna SU to go into your username. And from there, you're going to navigate to the Zcoin folder and you're going to check the block height. To do this, you know, you probably already know those other functions. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We went over them in this tutorial. We're going to go into our username and we're going to CD into the Zcoin folder and then click enter, and you'll get a readout of, you know, where your server is at. You can see our blocks are 168,325. We can come over here to the Block Explorer for Zcoin, refresh it, make sure it's accurate, and we can see we are at 168,325. So our server is in sync with, you know, the entire blockchain of Zcoin. You can see a new block was just hit. Let's go ahead. I didn't need to copy and paste all of that, but didn't matter. You can see just like that we are again in sync with the chain. If your server is lagging behind, don't worry. Just check back a little bit later. It's still downloading. It will absolutely catch up eventually. If you skimped out on the server, it may take longer. You're always paying a price. It's just going to kind of vary where you pay that price. And finally, let's go ahead and start up our Znode. We're going to need to go back to our Zcoin desktop wallet. Make sure to restart the wallet after you edit the config file. And I should have said this earlier, don't edit it, you know, when it's on. That's never a good practice. You'd probably be fine, but again, not a good practice. You'll see it syncing up down here. Normally it doesn't take too long, maybe a minute at the most. And so once we're in here, we're going to navigate over to our Znodes tab. Once we're there, we're going to go to the My Znodes tab and we're going to click Start Missing. and this will activate all the Znodes that are located in our Znode config file, which is that, again, that file we edited with Atom or whatever other text editor you want to use out there earlier in this video. I need this to finish before I can do that. All right, took a second, but now that's done. We're gonna navigate to Znodes, My Znodes, and from here we can see ZN2, which is the Znode we have been working on here all day today. Now we're just going to simply click Start Missing. Do you want to start the missing Znodes? Missing just means the status missing, aka the ones that aren't up, they're not online, they're not enabled, they're not approved, or anything like that. It's going to be the one you want to start. So we're going to click Yes. Hopefully you see successfully started 1 Znode, failed to start 0. That's good. You're going to see it in the pre-enabled status. As far as the pre-enabled status, it's going to be there for approximately 15 minutes, and then it should transition to enabled. If it changes to expired, then there is a problem with your Znode. Hopefully it's not a problem. If there is, again, join the Discord for some support. Not guaranteed, but probable. Always probable, never guaranteed. I'm going to congratulate you, assuming that your Znode is set up right, and in 15 minutes it moves to enabled. So hey, congratulations, man. That's awesome. Seriously though, that is really cool if you went ahead and set up your server. If this is your first time doing something like this, because it wasn't very long ago, it was my first time doing something like this, hats off to you. Really cool. I know it's a really daunting, overwhelming experience if you have none, in this, coding, Linux, VPS sector. It's different. It's difficult. You've never done something like this. It definitely gets a lot easier as you go along, but please trust me, I am absolutely still maybe an amateur if you round it up. But hey, you did it. Well, hopefully that turns to enabled soon. As far as payments, pretty simple. Not the most exciting thing, but I guess it's good for getting fewer and more relevant transactions. So right now there's about 5,000 Znodes, and the way their payment schedule works is you're going to divide that by 288. So 5,000 divided by 288 is going to mean that each Znode gets paid about every 17 days. So you're not going to get a payment for about 17 days. You just turn yours on. You're at the bottom of the list. And as time goes by, you move up and up and up. And again, you can check your activity right here. We look at the other Znodes. We can see ones that are on for many days, which they're going to be down here towards the bottom of the list. And you can see the newer ones right here at the top, and they've only been on for, say, a couple hours. Pretty simple. You're just gonna be in a waiting game now. If it says enabled, your Znode should be fine, so you should receive your payment. So don't worry about it. Don't stress out. Pat yourself on the back. You did it. It's done. Your Znode is up and operational. If you want to read more about Znode payments, I have a link built in the article right here, and this talks about the Znode payments very in depth. It's a great read. If you've got a Znode, it's probably worth reading. But if you want to keep it simple, that's as simple and totally accurate and relevant as it gets. Couple quick side notes here is that never use the Znode start many command. This will restart all your Znodes. So if you have multiple Znodes, and again, this is only where it would ever be relevant, it would restart, say, this Znode that is operating properly and this Znode that just went up. If this happened, your properly operating node would be penalized. Don't do that. You don't want that. The correct command would just be Znode start missing, and boom, it's done. So hey, celebrate, you did it. You now turned your coins that you already had into more passive income. You're going to be getting more coins. A coin you're now potentially just holding is now a staking coin, proof of stake. It's getting that passive income like we talked about earlier. At the end of the year, if you long-term holder and you hold it that long, you can have more coins, approximately 100 more coins. And compared to the person who did nothing, they only have 1,000. You've got 1,100. You're winning. You're kind of like Charlie Sheen. So celebrate like All Might. So I want to thank all you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, let me switch to the full screen. I want to ask you to please like the video, share it, subscribe, and let me know things I could improve on, things you like, things you didn't like, and above all, have a great day. You deserve it. See you guys next time. And just when you thought we were done, we're not, because I just wanted to show you that my status did change to enable. It took about 13 minutes. And just that hopefully I just made the guide showing you how to set up a server that actually worked. So again, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.